Hello, and welcome back to another countdown to Christmas. I'm so excited to continue this journey tonight. Every night has been so fun. Last Friday night, I chatted with my friend Monique. We talked about her getting married and starting new traditions with her fiance. Last night, I had my friend Tracy on, and we talked about all things hospitality and having community at Christmas. And tonight, I'm excited to be joined by my friend Melinda, who is also sort of a newlywed, a year plus in to this married life situation. But she also has had a lot of transitions in the past year and, moving from state to state. And Melinda is going to share a little bit about how you can thrive at the holidays, and if you can't thrive, how you can at least survive at the holidays. She is a licensed therapist. She is fun. She is fun loving. I'm sure there will be lots of laughs in this conversation. So help me welcome Melinda to the screen. Hi, Melinda.
Hey, how we
I'm
doing?
good. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for
Good, me
joining
too.
me. We
Of
are doing
course.
this late tonight because I had a band concert to attend, my last holiday band concert. So I had to do that earlier. So we had to push our time back. I appreciate you accommodating that and
Fair enough.
joining me tonight. So, did I say that right? You've been married like a year and a half ish?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 years in April, so about a year and a half now.
Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. So we all got to attend the wedding virtually because it was a
Virtual.
pandemic wedding, and
Yes,
you
with
have
the
lots
whole
of virtual
16 people
friends.
that were there.
Yes. You have lots of virtual friends. So I was so glad to join your wedding virtually. Thank you for making that an option.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy y'all were able to log on and that like the picture and everything is like so clear, especially
Yes.
for using an app that was free.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. Oh,
Yeah, like
great.
it, yeah, totally just found them on Google and they were like, yeah,
Oh, you're so resourceful.
we were like, we have to figure out something because if my mom tells one more person that we're having a reception and there is not a reception, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Your mom was a hoot the whole wedding planning cycle. She was a hoot. That's so
She
funny.
was so funny the whole time, but I wouldn't change any of it.
That's good. Well, Melinda and I met through one of our mutual friends. I was interning, and Melinda was a mastermind, right?
Yeah, that's what we would
And
call back then. Yes.
okay, and we were helping on a book launch situation. So it was a fun time. And somehow we ended up just staying connected. Melinda lived in Mississippi then. Now she's in Texas. And we just stayed connected. I have this community of friends, and we kind of do life together in a goal setting, growth mindset sort of way. And Melinda's part of that. It's called Tending Together. So we get together a few times a year, talk about our goals, talk about growth, talk about life, talk about updates. And then since Melinda moved to Texas, she got to come over to the house and do it in person.
Yes.
That was so fun to have you here.
I know, I was so excited. I was like, it's real. I'm really here. After, all the years of talking about moving, now I'm here.
Yes. So are you guys excited to be in Texas?
We are. Like we've had a lot of back and forth, a lot of traveling, a lot of transition, but the rest of this month, I mean until Christmas. And for the most part, like January, like we'll get a chance to like just be here. And it's so nice because we already have a church. We're branching out into small groups. So it's slowly but surely now that we're not planning to be in another state every other week, it's like, okay, now I was like, everything didn't feel so far or so rushed or so busy. So it's nice to be able to like just settle in and do stuff here,
Yeah, putting down some roots. So you're gonna stick
right?
around. How
Yes.
did you find okay, let's talk about how did you find a church so quickly? Because finding a church can be difficult, especially in a new city.
So I am a planner by nature. So I have a Google Drive of stuff just for this move. And that
Okay.
included, I started following churches on Instagram like a year before we were even moving. So I already had an idea. I had already asked for suggestions. But the church that we ended up finding was actually recommended to me, gosh, 6 years ago, by somebody that I was on a mission trip with. And they were like, hey, I think you would really like this pastor and his podcast. And
Okay.
then I thought, at the time, I thought the church was like much older, much more established, all of that. Now looking back on it, the church that we attend just turned 7. So the church would have been relatively new when she
All right.
recommended the podcast to me. And so when we were coming here, it was already one of the churches on my list. And we actually came out to visit for our anniversary. And I was like, hey, let's just try the church while we're there. And so we went. I was like, I like it. But I looked at my husband. I was like, so do you like it? And he was like, yeah, I really like it. So when we came, we didn't do the, visit 20 other churches. We're like, if we already like it, let's just go here. And as long as it feels good, we'll join.
Yeah.
And then we did.
That's so awesome. I mean, you circumvented months, maybe years of trial and and move along by
Oh,
having
yeah.
that grounding already when you got here. And to have a church home in a new city, that's like almost like instant community. Has that been the case?
And it is. So the small group that we tried, they don't meet like that often, but we did like it while we were there. So we were able to make some connections with that. And so now, we're more comfortable like branching out into other groups too. Because I've been through the church struggle before. It was not fun. Because when I've moved for work and school before. So this is not my first move at all. And so that trying to go to church, go to churches, walking into churches and figuring out, oh, this is y'all are on a different vibe than I'm used to. And
Yeah.
so getting a chance to not have to do that in a city so big was really nice. Because
Yeah.
clearly the other places I've lived before were much smaller. So not having to do that this time was really, really nice. But yeah, it
Yeah.
did give some community, already seeing familiar faces. A couple of my husband's coworkers actually also go to that church. And then I think it was like 2 weeks ago, we just look up and they were sitting in front of us. So it was like, oh, because it's not, super small. So the chance of them sitting right in front of us in that service was slim anyway. So it's like, okay, people we recognize. So if somebody calls your name, they're actually talking to you and not the person like behind you in a new
Yeah.
place. And that feels nice.
That's good. That's good. It's always helpful to have community in a new place. Like it just makes it start to feel like home much sooner than it otherwise
Yes.
would. Yeah.
And then I also have, so when I used to do mission work, my team was out of Dallas anyway. So I still have a few of those people here. I know y'all from, the mastermind and internship group. I know a couple of people I went to college with. They live out here. And so, regardless of whether or not we were like best friends beforehand, I was like, hey, I'm in Dallas now. And everybody's been very, like, very, very open, very welcome. Like, hey, let's do this. I have you on this. Like, let's get together. And so now that we're actually gonna be here, it's nice to know that okay, I can like reach out and like, hey, when are you free? Because now we can actually do all these things.
Right. I feel like we have a frozen yogurt date that we need to make
Yes, we
up.
do.
Okay, yes. So I
Yes,
thought.
we absolutely. Honestly, I feel like we should like make up for lost time. So like
Right.
when we do it, we have to get the double. That's what I heard.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I'm all for that. I'm definitely all for that. I wanted to ask, okay, so you are a licensed therapist. Am I saying that right?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. And
Licensed
how long
marriage and
have you
family
been doing
therapist.
family therapy?
Mhm.
Okay. So how long have you been doing that?
So from the time I see my first client, I think it's been about 11 and a half years since I've seen my first client. And I have, in that time, I've practiced in the, what we call in the room. So, the one-on-one clients. I've also trained other therapists. I've worked in educating other people in human services, a short stint with the military, which is so fun. If it wasn't
Okay.
grant funded, I probably would have stayed longer. So yeah, so across the board, worked in addiction. So 11 years since I've seen my first client.
Wow. Okay. So then I think family therapist, 11 years training others, you definitely can help us understand some tips, some tools, some tricks, some whatever it is we need to do to thrive in this season. Or and like I've been saying, if you can't thrive, you could at least survive because everybody like this is the most wonderful time of the year, but not for everybody.
It is
So,
not.
what would you say to the person who's like, help me through this season?
Absolutely. And I'm happy that you brought that up, that this time of year is not wonderful for everybody. This is actually where we see our biggest spike throughout the whole year for therapists. So that break or that time period between Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day is where we see the most referrals coming in because it's not the most wonderful time of the year for a lot of people.
Right.
And part of that is because you are either going around family that you may be stressed by, or you miss your family altogether because you can't see them, or the general loneliness of the things that just come with the season, especially if you're in new places, or if it reminds you of somebody that even if you are with your family that you wish was there with you. So it brings up a lot of feelings. So it's not always the greatest time of year. But one of the things to your original question that I always recommend is, and it's a buzzword now, but boundaries. And not just boundaries with other people, but also boundaries with yourself.
Mm.
Because like we all know the example of, like, oh, including your family, if somebody's talking to you crazy, try and limit interactions so you don't stress yourself out. But also your own internal boundaries are way more important, or at least to me they are, because you have to then hold yourself accountable to the boundary that you set. Because one of the things that we do a lot of times when we set a boundary is we want other people to hold it. And then if they don't hold it, we get mad with them.
Mm.
And you're allowed to be upset. However, that your boundary is for you. The way your life was before was working for them. So you have to remember to hold that boundary for yourself. And this includes, so this is personal boundaries, internal boundaries, physical and emotional boundaries. Because one of the examples I like to use all the time is, now is not the time to get magical thinking about the people that you're going to be around if that is a stressor for you. Because if your Aunt Lisa has been stressing you out for the last 20 years every Christmas, what
Okay.
makes you think when you show up on Christmas 21 that somehow she is magically turned over a new leaf?
Aunt Lisa gonna be Aunt Lisa.
Exactly. So if you, and not that you have to predict what somebody is going to do, but you are allowed to take in all the information that you have. And so if Aunt Lisa has been Aunt Lisa at every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every function, for as long as you can remember, why, what makes you think that because, oh, you want to have this different emotional experience with her, that somehow she is going to be different just because you were looking for something different?
Mhm.
And that's really, really hard because this is your family. And biologically, like, we want to be seen and get along with and just want to exist in peace around people who are supposed to love us.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that's not everybody's story.
Mm.
But the upside of that is it's also not your job to try and make it everybody's story. So if you know that this is going to be a situation or a circumstance that is not going to be best for you, bow out. Not necessarily saying don't go at all, but if you know that this person is a stressor, don't open up that door as far as like things that hurt your feelings. Like keep it very surface level. We used to call it news, sports, and weather when I was working in addiction.
Okay.
Meaning those topics that if they say something out of left field, it doesn't hurt your feelings anyway because it wasn't personal.
Mhm.
But if you know things like, because the older that I get, people ask about things like kids and your work and all of that. If you know you're struggling with something when it comes to kids, either the kids that you have or the kids that you wish you had, and the person that you were talking to has never been an emotionally safe person, don't set yourself up for it. That's an
Mhm.
internal boundary for you to hold for yourself.
That's good. So you're saying having your back pocket, we're gonna shift to news, sports, and weather.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's something that I've seen a lot more over the last couple of years between the social and political climate too, is people trying to navigate how to go home and in these conversations that they think they're about to be really, really uncomfortable with. I was like, look, I'm not telling you to skip dinner. I'm not telling you to skip seeing your family because that is time that you can't get back. But find those topics that you can try and steer that conversation to before you have to exit out of that conversation if you know that this is about to be one of those conversations that makes the next holiday really awkward.
Yeah. That's good. Maybe we should just trim it down to sports and weather because news might be.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Mel is saying that boundaries is something she really needs to practice more of in her life. So, why is it so hard for us to set and then maintain firm boundaries with people, especially people that we love? Is that why? Because
Because
there are people there
yeah,
that we love.
it's people that we love. And the
Yeah.
thing is, And I tell my classes all the time because I hear that question, that response so much. Like, how, like, why could I just not care? Because approval feels nice. Like, positive affirmation feels nice. I was like, anybody who ever says, like, I just really don't care what people think. I was like, congratulations, I don't believe you. But it feels nice to be like to be applauded for things. It feels nice to be approved. It feels nice to say, "Hey, I got this new job and people are excited for you."
Yeah.
Like, yes, getting the job was exciting for you, but it feels good to be affirmed for something you did in life.
Mhm.
And there is no age where you get to where being liked doesn't feel good. And for some reason we think that, oh, that's for kids, worrying about being liked is for kids. Worrying about the next big thing is for kids. No, it's not. We do it all the time. That's where keeping up with the Joneses came from. So it's all those different things all go into it. But the thing is, it's nice to be liked. It's nice to be affirmed. And while you shouldn't build your life off of it, I don't think there's a point where you elevate in life to where it doesn't feel good that somebody was like right there with you, like you did good.
Mm. So
And
how
it
do
just
we
feels good.
Okay, so how do we manage when they slip it in? Like some people are very good at slipping these little daggers in. And before you
Mhm.
know it, like you're wounded by the conversation and you forget, I got to pivot to sports and weather. Like, how do we in those moments like manage the hurt that we're feeling and still maintain the relationship if it's possible?
That's fair. So I have two answers. One is my therapist answer, and then one is me as a person.
Okay.
So, because I don't want any of my clients messaging me later, like, "Hey, you said this,
You said I could be bad about it.
right?" So the my therapist answer is tell people the truth. Like, don't think because they're so that they should be able to read your nonverbals. Because if we should, could, and would do all these things, we would.
Mhm.
So don't think that people see your nonverbals and know that this is you saying, I don't want to talk about this. If it's something that you don't want to talk about or that makes you uncomfortable, say that. Now, also be prepared for somebody might not care that you said it. And that
Mhm.
itself is a different issue. But the first part of that is making the unknown known. So if you don't like it, you got to say it. And that again is part of your internal boundaries because your yes is yes and your no means no. But if you have never said yes or you have never said no, people
Right.
cannot know that you're
That's
thinking
good.
it.
That's good. That's good.
Now, my personal answer is make it awkward. That is one of my favorite things to do. Absolute, and it is foolproof. And I'm always for that. Like I've been a bridesmaid a lot. And so one of the things when I was a bridesmaid a lot, and people always want to give input to like my brides, like, oh, you should do this with your wedding, or you should invite this person, do this, do that. And I say, here, this is what you say. Tell them, especially when it comes to like, oh, you should really invite this person, your mama's cousin, second, twice removed auntie
Mhm.
from a hometown you've never been to, but
Mhm.
they want to invite them
She's
to the
gotta get
wedding.
the invite, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I was like, I always tell people the same thing. Hey, tell them, you know what? That is such a great idea. I would love to see her. Adding a different person to the wedding would cost about 52.17 per person, including seating and feeding them. So if you want to go ahead and Venmo me that, I will absolutely add them to the guest list.
That would make it awkward because Monique is laughing at that. So I'm betting Mo, I hope you wrote that down verbatim because you might need that in your hip pocket
And I
with
think I
this
told
wedding
Monique
coming
that
up.
too. But I do. I was like, make it awkward. I've been married almost 2 years. People want to ask about kids, but I cut it off really early. And I think somebody asked once about something about like, oh, babies or gaining weight or something like that. I was like, just tacos, and then nothing else. Then just let you sit in it. I was like, well, you shouldn't have asked. So here we are.
I told you guys she's a ball of fun. So she just gave you have two choices. You can tell them they hurt you or you can make them feel awkward. It's up to
Make,
you. It's up to
make
you.
it awkward. Like, are you still working that same job? Man, I don't know. Is it still that same wig? Like all of it. Like whatever you need to do, make it awkward. Don't really say that if this that same wig unless you're ready for this relationship to be over.
Yeah.
But But I am a firm believer in making it awkward.
I might have to not use that one because I think it would come very easily for me.
Yeah, don't use that one. That was just a joke. But that when people are trying to get you to spend money, do things that aren't like your wheelhouse. So this is funny, and my mom was there, so she can verify this story too. I find it funny, and I think people find it funny later. Now that like what 12 years has passed since the story. So when I was going to grad school, people are like, "Oh, what are you going to grad school for?" Blah blah blah. And I said I was going to school to be a marriage and family therapist. And somebody was like, "No, you need to be a lawyer. Something that this particular group needs." And I said, I mean, also y'all could just stop committing crimes, and that would do the same job. And
Yeah,
my
you.
family, my family has that sense of humor where like it was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
But and I was just like, yeah, make it awkward. And then nobody asked ever again. I just graduated in peace.
Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have, thank you so much for sharing the insight with us. I think it was helpful to us. Even the comedic answers were helpful to us just to give us some levity in those moments too.
Yeah.
That's usually my go-to is like, oh, let's all laugh and take the focus off of me. But
And
also
it works. It's effective.
yeah, I think it's also important to tell people to when, tell them how you actually feel. I think that's a good point to have in pocket. And to acknowledge like, okay, this is making me feel sad or whatever the situation might like
Yeah.
acknowledge your emotion
Hmm.
and maybe hopefully it'll change the environment. Holding those boundaries. Okay, if you guys have questions for Melinda, listen, she's here. So y'all ask away if y'all have some questions for her. And I'm going to switch over to asking her some fun questions. Um, uh-oh. Jen said she's just coming in and she heard about graduate school in peace. I think you piqued her attention because that ministered
Look,
to her soul. Yes.
yes, the peace was at graduation, but yes, because
Yeah.
graduate school itself is not peaceful.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some fun questions and we'll watch the
Okay.
chat and see if any of our people watching have any therapist related questions for you involving thriving or at least surviving during these holiday season. Do you prefer a white Christmas or a warm one?
A white Christmas. I love wintertime. And I don't know if it's because I'm tired of being hot all the time when it comes to summers in Alabama, because that's where I'm originally from. But if I could have a white Christmas, that would be everything. I
Well,
love cold weather.
the chances of that here in Texas.
Oh, I know. Slim
Okay.
to none.
Because it was like pushing 80 today.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was so hot.
It was my air conditioner came on today. I'm like, is that
Ours
the
too.
AC on? Yes, it automatically came on today. Yeah, I think I prefer a 60-degree Christmas.
That's fair. That's
I
a
don't want
Texas
to be
cold
too
Christmas.
cold that I'm scurrying from the house to the car. And I don't want to be so warm that I'm like, this doesn't feel like Christmas. So give me a good 60s. I'm good medium temperature. Like I need a
Here's
sweater, but I don't need a coat.
fair enough. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm like, yes, fleece lined leggings under my sweatpants, under my two shirts. I was like, this is great.
This feels like Christmas. Do you have favorite holiday sweets or desserts that you like to indulge in?
So I love sweets.
Okay.
So, but as far as like holiday sweets, red velvet cake does
Oh,
not miss, and gingerbread cookies.
okay, yeah.
Like I love them. Like they don't have to be in the shapes. Like I just really, really like gingerbread cookies as they are. And that's one of the things I want to learn how to make. But between gingerbread cookies and red velvet cake, those are probably like my two like holiday favorites. Because the others I just eat anyway.
I think my grandmother ruined me on gingerbread cookies because she used to buy, I don't know if you guys have ever had these, but they were called ginger snaps. Did you have gin- ginger snap? Like that was her idea. If we were like, can we get some cookies? She would get ginger snaps and vanilla wafers. And I was like,
Okay, that's not what you mean by cookies.
no, I meant
Vanilla wafer,
Oreo.
Shonda.
Yeah. So
Vanilla wafers are the garnish of banana pudding. That is
I
not.
know,
Oh yeah.
I
So
know, but that's what she would let us buy. And oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. There was one other like cracker like cookie. I'm like, okay, thank you.
I was
Thanks
gonna
for
say,
the
really.
sweet.
I was thinking, I was like, all you're missing is like a pack of fig Newtons, and you would have
Oh,
like
she loved fig Newtons.
the elderly trifecta of cookies.
Yes, she loved fig Newtons. I'll have to tell you guys some more of my grandmother's stories because they are funny. Okay, so what in your life has changed since last Christmas? I know one of
Oh,
them.
well, we moved, and we moved significantly far from our family. So that part has changed the most. But we moved. My husband has a new job. Um, Gosh, what else? Yeah, really just getting acclimated. We're in a new church. We met new people. Trying to see what else has changed. I feel like that's enough though.
That's a lot. That's a lot. What are you hopeful for in the next year?
I am hopeful to finish school again, and truly, unless the Lord says that I need to go to seminary, I will not enroll back in school again after this one. And I am somebody who has always called myself a professional student. Not after this one. After we finish this one, we are done. So in the next year, finish school. I am going to buy myself my first car next
Wait a
year
minute.
because I've never had to buy it myself. So I have paid
Okay.
off a
Okay.
car, but I've
Okay.
never like had to go do like the negotiations and all of
Okay.
that. Oh yeah,
Okay.
so no, I am very familiar with car payments. But
Yeah.
just this will be my first time going to the dealership saying I am picking this. This is, so it'll be the first time of me doing the process by myself.
What kind of car are you hoping to get?
Because I am a planner, I already have them picked out and have done comparisons. So a Mazda CX-5, because now having had a SUV, I like being able to like see the whole road because I'm not
Mhm.
that tall. So this works for me. Or the updated Toyota RAV4. Like those are my top two picks. They're roughly the same size, roughly the same cost. So it'll really be whichever one is just a better deal by the time I go look at cars.
Oh, this is fun. What color do you want? This is important.
uh Black or white, which is which is very like different ends of the spectrum, but I really like the Mazda CX-5 in white. I really like the Toyota RAV4 updated one in black. So
Cool. That's so fun. Test driving cars, that's a fun Saturday for me. I mean, I the last two cars that we've gotten, we didn't leave the house to go and buy a car. We just ended up at the dealership and came home with the car. So not all
I
the
mean, but that
planning
used to be
that
my
you have.
dad.
Yeah.
I was like, how? I mean, and I remember like being like 8 with my dad. Like, how do you not have a better plan for this?
Oh,
I But I've always been like that. But I don't buy anything without like being 7 pages deep into reviews. I wish I could stop. Like I'm
yeah.
like that about everything. Even when we moved here, I had like a list of like every single place that we were thinking about living. It had to have over a 4-star review on Google, and then it had to meet like all these other requirements. And like I had them like in a spreadsheet before we
Oh,
even looked.
nice. I'm that way about like family travel. Like I will review myself out of every place until I'm like, we'll just have to sleep in the car because it's the only suitable location. Like,
And and I want to stop. I want to be able to just go and say, I know that this is a good deal. I know that this is the right decision. I would like to stop
yeah,
because the
I understand.
poor realtor guy who was supposed to help find an apartment, he was not prepared for all my questions and feedback. And I was
Oh,
like, I feel terrible. I was like, I am so sorry if I cannot help myself. I want to stop. I truly do, but we're here now.
yeah. Okay, we have an audience question. So we're going to pause on the holiday fun questions and ask this one. For Melinda, how has the holiday slash life looked different for you since you've been married and moved? Have you had to place any boundaries around your time with your family and your friends?
Ooh, that's good. So as far as how it looks different, it is a lot more traveling. For Thanksgiving, I think we were in the car something like 30 or 32 hours between going to a friendsgiving, hit my husband's parents' house, and then my parents' house. And so it was like a 32-hour like total round trip. And so wrapping our head around like that much driving, we were like, oh yeah, we won't be able to pull this off twice next year. So we've actually already decided that next year we'll probably go on a Thanksgiving cruise for us, and then we'll do the larger drive for Christmas. Because
Mm.
even with my husband having like a week off because he's a teacher, once you're in the car for 32 hours, like that still eats up
Yeah.
all your time. And so the biggest adjustment is the increase in travel time since we moved, because we had a pretty decent schedule as far as like which houses we went to beforehand, but with the additional driving, we were like, okay, we can't pull this off the same way twice a year, especially so close back to back. So that kind of goes into the second part of the question too, about, like what boundaries are we having to put around time? And for next year, that's one of the things that we already told both of our families that, hey, we won't do this next
Yeah.
year for Thanksgiving. Like, it has nothing to do with y'all. It's just that we can't pull it off. And honestly, when we do this, like, we don't, as far as like vacation time, because I don't get spring break off. So that's not a thing. So as far as vacation time, Thanksgiving really is the only time that if we wanted to, we to take a vacation together and have like like that much time.
Yeah.
And everybody was surprisingly really receptive. And by everyone being receptive, the only person I was worried about was my mom.
Right. I was a little worried about your mom too.
Because even when my mom agrees, she does this really funny thing where she will always give me the dramatic reaction first.
Uh-huh.
And then she'll be like, "Oh, that's fine, I understand." But it will not come without the first part,
Yeah.
meaning, what do you mean you're not coming home? Which anytime she starts that, I was like, "Oh, this is about to get good." I hope she knows she's about to end up being a story somewhere, either my
Yes.
blog or in life.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, so everybody was really cool with it afterwards, and they understood because
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
we have the longest drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot.
so surprisingly receptive, but yeah, we one of the boundaries we're putting around time is that we will not do 30 something hours for Thanksgiving. Like for Christmas is a little bit different. We have a little bit more time and flexibility. And I do work from home. So as long as I have a quiet space, I can knock out a few hours every day anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely decided we are not doing this next year.
Okay. Hopefully that helped you out, Monique. Set the boundaries early and the expectations. Oh, goodness. Okay, back to our fun questions. Uh-oh. Back to okay. This one I think is becoming my favorite question. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. We'll see what your answer is if I ask it again tomorrow to Sharby. You're invited to a favorite things party and you must share something with the group that's under $15. What would you bring? Your
Ooh,
favorite thing to the party that's under $15.
that is good. I have never thought about that. And I'm a generally cheap person, so that's so many things. So would the favorite thing like be for something for other people to partake in, or just like me bringing an example of one of my favorite things that's under
I
fifteen
think
dollars?
the idea is that you're going to give this to someone like Oprah.
So this is a very nerdy thing, but my doctoral program gave us a USB lamp light that you can plug into your computer, and it seems so small, but it's such a game changer. Uh, as
Yeah.
far especially as I get older and like not having a backlit keyboard, and
Oh.
the darker it gets, like I just can't see it as well. And so
Mhm.
it just provides a little light. It has like the different settings. It's essentially like a baby ring light. And
Okay.
so you can also use it. So if I don't want to like set up my full ring light because I have like a quick Zoom meeting or something like that, I can just like literally, it has a little grip thingy on it. So you can like stick it wherever you want to on the computer. And then it acts as like a little ring light for if you have meetings and everything.
Okay. Cool. That is a neat idea.
And it's like
Under
$10 on
$15.
Amazon.
We're gonna have a whole little under $15 gift. Okay. Yesterday, Tracy said a baton is it's one of her favorite things. She
That's
is
so
a
fun.
twirler. And so Sharby, I'm gonna ask you tomorrow. You get time to think about it. what are you going to bring to the favorite things party? So far we have a baton and we have a USB light situation that acts as a ring light and backlight for your keyboard. Okay, we're going to have a
Yes.
great party. It's going to be fun. Okay, one last question. This is kind
Okay.
of random. It's not really holiday related, but I get such a giggle out of the things that you post on social media, like especially when it's like sports related. Like you are knee deep into the sports social media programming. And so
Kendrick
I get
Perkins is
so
gonna
much good
block
stuff
me.
from you. But my question
Kendrick Perkins is going to block me. Yes.
is my question is who is your favorite social media person to follow or account?
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be a person.
I'm gonna go with the Kev on Stage Studios account because then that would encompass all the people that work at Kev on Stage Studios that I enjoy. So Kev on Stage, that chick Angel, to hear more. Essentially, everybody who left All Deaf Digital with Kev on Stage and then came over. So
Okay.
it's that entire crew.
You know,
But yeah, so the Kev on Stage Studios account because then I would get everybody.
okay, I thought it might have been something sports related, but I can definitely get down with the Kev on Stage Studio crew because I am a stage crew member. I don't know if am I admitting this out in the general world? I just did. If they might cut it out of the replay.
Oh yeah, I'm getting the app and everything.
Yes,
I
I
am I
yeah,
am
yeah,
on
yeah.
board.
I have the app. I have not watched Churchy yet, but it's on my holiday plan.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So that's fun. Okay, we have a game. We have a game.
Yay.
Um, and I announced this yesterday. So if you didn't see, all week we're playing Jeopardy. And
Okay.
um, each day, the categories that are still available will shift because, if you answer all of them, and you're going to do all of one category.
Okay.
So you'll have to pick. Can you see that on your screen?
I can. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
lean in because I can't see good, but yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to read it out to you. So, your
Okay.
options are Christmas traditions, Jesus is coming, Christmas food, deck the halls, or movie time. Yesterday, Tracy
Ooh.
did all the best selling toys.
Let's go with movie time.
Movie time. Okay, so we're going to clear the board in the movie time category. You guys in the comment section, be sure you're commenting and helping Melinda out. She can't even see it anyway, so that's fine. She can see it, but she can't see it.
Right.
Um, because if you're commenting, then you're going to be entered into our prize drawing on Friday night. Okay, so
Yeah.
movie time for 200.
Okay.
This is the name of the boy in the Home Alone movie.
Who is Macaulay Culkin? Oh,
Ooh,
his name in the movie.
yes.
Forgot. I
Y'all gonna
truly
have to help
forgot.
her out because she has his government name, but what is his fictional name?
Who is Kevin Kevin McAllister?
Kevin McAllister. Thanks,
Okay,
Jen. Jen helped
McAllister.
out in the comments. Yes, yes, Kevin,
Okay.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you got 200. Let's see. Okay. Movie time for 400. This green character played Bob Cratchit in the Muppets Christmas Carol.
And I actually really like this movie. Uh,
Green Muppet.
I was like, who is the Grouch? Okay,
Oh no, not the
it's
ground.
okay.
They're helping you in the comments.
And I can't see the comments because I guess I
Oh,
don't know where to go. Oh, I probably should open the chat and I can see them
Bri-
on the.
yeah. Can you see the chat?
Oh, there we go. Now I can. Who is Kermit?
Kermit the Frog.
Yes,
Yes. Okay. I
good
didn't
point.
know. This says Kermit the Frog, but I think his it's Kermit then the letter D Frog, right? Is that right? Or did I just make that up? If it's
I don't
not
know,
that, it
but
should be.
I love a good Wikipedia search. So now I'm gonna be down the Muppet rabbit hole for the rest of the night.
Okay, movie time for 600. In Love Actually. Seen Love Actually?
I've seen parts of Love Actually.
I've never seen Love Actually, so this might be a all. I don't even know what the answer is.
I just
Um,
know that there were a lot of people in it, and a lot of people still talk about it. That's all I got.
I know it's the 20th year anniversary or something like that, maybe 25. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I don't know the answer to this question, so I don't know if you're gonna get it right because I can't remember what the answer is. But in Love Actually, this is the country where Colin Firth's love interest comes from.
And I know more about Colin Firth's real life than I do about this movie.
Y'all are really good. I don't know the answer because I've never.
Oh yeah. And as I head straight to the comments to see if somebody else knows.
They're like crickets over there, so they're not helping out much either.
I'm gonna go with where is Ireland? Or what is
Ireland.
Ireland?
Ireland. Is she right, guys? Is it Ireland? Does
Is it
anybody know?
Ireland?
Anyone in the comments seen Love Actually? Okay, let's just go to the end.
Oh,
Portugal.
Portugal. Oh, not even
Okay.
close.
We're getting some never seen the movies, nopes, and so no help from the peanut gallery. No
I
one
mean, it
in
is that is fine. This is so funny. I'm gonna look up all of these. I cannot wait.
why did you pick movie time? That's hilarious. Okay.
Well, because I do like movies and I watch the same ones over and over again. I just clearly don't remember them as well as I thought I did.
That's fun. Okay. Next, movie time for 800. This wild animal causes havoc in the Griswold's family home at Christmas.
Oh my gosh. And again, I've seen, with the exception of Love Actually, I've watched all of these movies.
Oh,
And the
good.
details that I pay attention to are just not those details.
You're more about the storyline than all these random facts
Well,
about the movie.
and then I just pay attention to like random things. Like the biggest thing that I remember about Home Alone is one, that house was huge that they lived in. Two, how do you forget your kid? And three, why does he just know how to do all this stuff to protect himself? Like what has been going on in his life? And I remember thinking that as a kid watching that movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Alicia gave you the answer in the
Okay.
comments. Hey, Alicia.
Okay. So what is a squirrel?
What is a squirrel? That's the answer.
I appreciate you, girl. Thank you. Because we would have been talking for another 15 minutes and I would have not known.
This is okay. Last question. Movie time for 1,000. This is the name of the superhero action figure in Jingle All the Way.
And again, have seen it, was wondering why they were letting Arnold Schwarzenegger essentially debo all these people in that store over this toy.
Oh,
And I can see the toy, but I don't know the name.
oh no. Is anybody going to come through with the answer on this one? This one's for 1,000. Tracy couldn't get the $1,000 question yesterday. So is the $1,000 category really? Oh, Vanessa's
Oh,
helping out.
oh, Vanessa, what do we have? It was. Who is Turbo Man?
Turbo Man. Come through comments
Yes.
for the help.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Because let
Ah,
me tell you, did not remember.
I haven't seen any of those.
And I used to watch
Muppet.
Jingle All the Way a lot. So I don't know if we talked about this, but I was only allowed to watch like 7 stations until I was like 14. So there are like several movies. My mom was just very big on like she wanted me to like essentially grow to a certain point before like I saw like music videos and like people who didn't look like me and all of that. So she was just real big on that. And so which I like now that I'm older, I was like, that was genius. I would never thought about that.
Yeah.
So, but I could only watch like 7 stations that weren't network TV. So that included that it was only like USA, TNT, TBS, and stuff like that. And Jingle All the Way was one of those movies that was on repeat on like
Oh,
USA.
okay. I have not seen. I'm with you now. Nell says apparently I need to watch more holiday movies
I
because
do too.
I haven't seen any of those, and I am dying that you picked movie time and got like No.
Didn't know any of them. I was like, oh, I was like, well, maybe I was like, maybe there would be like a nod in here to like this Christmas. I was like, why was Idris Elba running from people? What did Chris Brown want to do when his family didn't agree? I was like, bet he wanted to sing, stuff like that.
We need the urban holiday Jeopardy category. You're all over that one.
And again, I've seen these movies. I watched them all, and I'm just like, nope, don't remember these details.
Oh
I used
my
to watch all the Chevy Chase movies because I'm like, this is great.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Thank you, Melinda,
Exactly.
for joining us. If you missed the beginning, go back. Melinda gave some great advice and tips for thriving or at least surviving the holiday season because sometimes it's not merry for all of us. So thank you, Melinda, for joining me. Thank you for the comedy. Thank you for all of your time tonight and all of you that are joining. Tomorrow night, I'll be back again at a regular time at 8 p.m. Central. And Sharby's going to be joining me, and we're going to be
Yay.
chatting all about purposeful planning at the holiday time,
Ooh, that's
during the
fun.
holiday season. So it's going to be a fun time. Thank you all for joining. I'll see y'all later.
Yay.